in a very simple way. I see you. Do I see you directly or indirectly?
You see me through your senses.
Senses. So I'm using the medium, the senses. It means I'm seeing you indirectly. I'm using the sense organs. I'm using the mind from the past impression. Oh, here it is. Claudia is here. See? The mind, the knowledge of Claudia comes through the mind and the sense organ. Right? This is what the witness consciousness is. I'm going back. I'm explaining you. And it can happen here and now, 24/7. That is the beauty. Okay. Now, next question comes, if someone is sitting behind you, can you know that person? Yes, you move your head. Again, you are using the sense organ and the mind to know that person. It is an indirect perception. The knowledge gained by the sense organ and the mind indirectly. Am I clear?
Yes, but now I'm wondering, how do you experience that directly?
That is the entire journey. Yes, you are jumping very fast, so we will go. We'll put 2 or 3 more steps. Now, my eyes has a dust, and then I see you blurry. So it means my knowledge depends on the quality of my eyes and the quality of my mind. Mind is polluted. Let's say, for example, the mind says this kind of a nose is not beautiful. And the Claudia has it. So the mind is polluting the right knowledge, the factual knowledge.
I don't know that the mind would say that.
No, this...
I know it's just an example.
This shape, this figure is beautiful. The mind has created an idea.
But the mind doesn't create that idea until it sees what other people think is beautiful.
So you accept those ideas?
If that's what you're saying.
Yeah. You accept those ideas, and when you accept those ideas, the mind keeps that in the memory. And the moment you see another person, so it means mind is also colored by preferences, by likes and dislikes. So now the mind and the sense organ is seeing the things outside indirectly, and it pollutes everything. I'm answering your question. You have realized, not a statement. This is a very wonderful, serious talk, done with a smile. Now, because those past impressions are already present in the mind, and the mind makes it habitual, and the mind wants to stick to those ideas and the concepts, and it builds the ego. And then we start working with that ego unknowingly, subconsciously, habitually, and we enter into problems in our life. I maintain that awareness, even in the family and with honey. I have no issue. I enjoy. Now see, very important thing. 2 or 3 things. Question is, I have to see, let the knowledge come directly to me. I want to know the self by the self, not by the mind, not by the sense organ. So the senses have the limitations. The senses cannot go behind itself. Senses cannot go inside. Let me create a very right memory in your mind. Sense organs are one-sided windows. We tint the windows. So we can see outside, but nobody can see inside. Can you see anything through any of the five sense organs? There is no way. Eyes cannot see inside, cannot hear, touch. I cannot touch myself, my real self. See that? Do you see that?
Yes.
Now, when I see that in that moment, the person is fighting in front of me and I'm smiling inside. Socially, professionally, you have to keep your face, very sad, but internally you are okay. Because the senses do not have a judgment of fighting or loving, but it comes through the mind, through the likes and dislikes, through the social habits and the conditioning. Now I see every event that is happening is an opportunity for me to evolve. You are clear that the senses cannot see what is behind. And the same thing is true to the mind. The mind cannot see what is behind. How? Why? Again, I'm giving you another right memory to remember. Give me a thought without an object.
A thought without an object.
Yeah. Speak anything which has no object. One example, I know you, you are an object for my mind. Without an object, this mind cannot even have a single thought. So we try to chase our thought coming from the ego. Instead, we don't see the object in that thought. Remove that object.
So we see our own reality.
The mind perceives the reality with any object. That object may be a person, maybe a physical object, maybe a space or a location, or maybe the time. Without these three, the mind cannot think. Remove the object. I have a problem with my honey. Remove that honey in your mind and see. Let me think. Now keep the honey. The mind has already created, I have a problem. And then from the problem you get the stress and the suffering and anxiety and the reaction and the disliking, and the whole range of thought enters into the mind. It can be done here and now. I talk to you as a Claudia, but I see that you are the same self. That self is pulsating here. And that gives me a tremendous energy to guide. I don't see that there is any difference. Common element between the two is the self. And there are millions of uncommon elements. Starting from age, sex, gender, profession, and go on. Can I remove those uncommon elements in day-to-day life? That is witness consciousness. You live into that state. We are answering that question. So, why? Because self passing through the mind passing through the sense organ, looking at Claudia, forgetting the self, creates its own opinion, judgment, likes and dislikes, preferences. The mind has a criteria to define what is beauty. It has stored in the memory.
Well, I think as humans, since the beginning, we've always tried to rationalize everything.
That is the process of evolution since beginning. But we have to go beyond. And I want to see the reality. My master used to say, it's a beautiful statement. So someone said, he's very ugly. The master asked him, Does this ugly man do anything against you? No. Existence created you and this man. Existence perceives the same beauty in that man the way it perceives the beauty in you. It is your mind has a preferences. The mind created the entire image of the beauty and you want to stick to that. Everyone is beautiful in this existence. Who perceives that? The witness consciousness, the self. So, last point, the self. Moving through the mind, when the mind is acting like a perfect mirror, not with the impurities, not with the preferences, not with the ego, not with the concept and the ideas that it has created, my honey is good and this guy is better. The moment you say my honey is not good, for example, it means the mind has already divided, and the divided mind cannot see the reality. That is why when the self passes through the pure mind, the transparent mind, and then the mind passes through the sense organ, then it sees the person and object outside. What happens? The self is meeting the self. Self is not meeting the crazy guy, self is not meeting Eric, self is not meeting good guy, self is not meeting even the men and the women, self is simply meeting the men. That is a higher witness consciousness. That can happen here and now. That is where we are heading to. That is why we are going into a deeper state of meditation. In the meditation, the mind is transparent, the senses, they do not work according to the habit, preferences. They work under the guidance of the self. So where comes the problem in relationship of the two strangers having the opposite sex? Because the self is watching the self. What that means? You are going beyond and behind the mind, which the sense organ cannot see, which the mind cannot perceive. The self is perceiving the self. So even when you fight with a smile inside. That's a play. I have to play my role. This is the way you have to do it. You rehearse, internally you are calm and externally you shout to get the things done. Sometimes you have to use that. So now what happens? Whatever is present before me in the world outside, in relationship, in the profession, in the personal, social life, I have to use everything. I have to use everything. Anger should not use me, but I have to use it to show that, to get the things done. If it is done in peace, wonderful. But if it is not done, we have to use that. So it's not an anger, anxiety management. It is bypassing them, using them as a tool whenever it is required, and you return to the same state again and again. That is the higher state of the witness consciousness. I'm repeating again for the sake of clear understanding. Pay more attention. The sense organs are one-sided windows. They cannot see the self. They cannot move inside. Simply you have to close your eyes to block the objects of the world in order to proceed to a meditation. The mind without an object cannot work. It is so simple. Simplifying. Any object. To whom should I talk? Mind is asking. Claudia is there. Claudia is an object. All the thoughts are also subtle objects. Can you find any thought that is yours? Now moving to the next level. Pay attention to this. Contemplate and reflect. Ask the question, is there any thought that is only mine? And the answer is big no. People say, no, it is my private thought. Come on. There is no private thought. You were not born with a particular thought. Go deeper.
What if you say something along the lines of, I feel good? That is your experience.
It is also a thought. Mm-hmm. Huh? So from where these thoughts came to your mind? You learned a language. That is an expression of the feeling. Feeling is real, but the expression of this thought coming from outside. Let me make a point to help you understand deeply. I feel good. If the society understands the word crazy as feeling good, you should have said, I feel crazy. And I should have a smile on my face.
Okay, I see what you're saying. The explanation of good was created by something external.
So this thought doesn't belong to me. You see that?
Yes.
The entire the world in communication, if they had used men as a women and women as a man. You see that? So thought has an image and it has an expression. The image behind works. That image comes from the mind. For the sake of convenience, it is only for the sake of convenience you are Claudia, so that I can work in the world with a different name and the form. That is the role of language. There is no other role of this thought at all. Now apply this. Two people are fighting. They are your subordinates. It is all thought. Whether you say, I feel good, or whether two people are fighting, you are crazy, you're this, both are thought. In witness consciousness, you experience that state. And when you experience that state, you have a solution instantly. They reveal in your mind. I need not to tell you. They are instantly revealed in your mind. That self takes the right perception, the right knowledge. Otherwise, what happens? Person A, I have seen in the past, he has been good, but now he is fighting, so he is right. Mind again colors that. In the beginning, it was a big issue when my son and the daughter used to have some clashes. They used to tell me that you are not taking my side because I'm right. See that? I said, now first thing is that is fight good? Now see that position. No. Now who is more intelligent then? Who is more intelligent of the two? The son used to say, I am. So does the intelligent people fight? You don't understand. I said, answer me. And he used to calm down. Now they understand. Now he is working in a big organization, so he uses the same logic. Because the way he has been educated, my daughter uses the same logic. But they are evolving, they are young. See that. Can we live into that state of witness consciousness? That is why the entire journey of the Eastern wisdom is to go behind and beyond the mind. One more thing, and then we will see that what practice we will do.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
On the practice.
Yes, ask me.
Well, I don't wanna stop the conversation. I don't wanna stop the.
Yeah, it's important. Yeah.
I have been trying to figure out why I tend to react a certain way in a situation. I think I know why, but it's been really hard to stop myself from not doing it. When I have a friend who's coming to me complaining about someone that we mutually know, I tend to agree with my friend and say what I know she wants to hear in that moment.
Yes, okay, go ahead.
So these past few weeks, I'm fully aware at that moment of what I'm doing, and I know that I should not be doing it, but somehow,
by habit, you agreed again.
yes, and it's my way, I feel like, of wanting to make her feel better, that someone is on her side, that someone is listening to her, but I also know that I should not say anything. And
how long you want to make your friend feel better every time he or she comes to you and criticizes other? You are creating more impressions in your head. So what's the role I should play? First, play your role. I agree with you, but let us find out how to live in peace and happiness. If I keep anyone in my head and the mind all the time, I'll create more dislikes and reaction. So let us clear our mind first.
I did do that the last time.
Let us keep a distance with that friend. Many options. So when the knowledge reveals into you, then you play again. The mind is blaming and complaining. Not my friend is blaming and complaining, it is her mind in relationship to the other. So it means her mind is perceiving that object or a person differently than I do. And that is what the mind has been doing since our birth. So can I hit silently with love and care to the mind of that person? When I use the word hit, and at the same time I say with love, with care, why to worry about the world outside? Let us first see that, let us live in peace and happiness. If someone is becoming crazy to us and my mind is reacting, let me keep a distance. Let me continue to have a relationship. Hi, hello, how are you? Done. Keep a distance. One example. Let us use that opportunity when the mind blames and reacts. Let me educate my mind to remain calm in the peace. Second option. I can give you 100 of options. We have never explored this. So, in the state of the witness consciousness, when you go a little deeper, you'll find, it's a play and a fun. It's a play and a fun. One example, sometime the couple, I have two couples on guiding nowadays, and in front of me they start fighting, and I enjoy myself. I look at them outside as if I'm serious, but inside I'm smiling. I said, what do I have to do? I said, no, you're not saying anything. I said, why should I interrupt between the two people until you calm down? You will not listen to me. Will you listen to me if you were fighting against each other? I raise their awareness. No, we cannot. So why you are asking me to interfere? Who is asking? My mind. What is it asking? To prove person A is wrong. To prove the person B is wrong. Your mind is expecting to whom I side with. I will not do. I will never do. I will help you to explore the mind that is causing the problem. None of you are responsible for this problem. Can you understand that? First you understand, then you practice, then you change your mind, and then see how the relationship begins in peace and happiness. Do you understand that? That is how you have to live in that. It is good to communicate with the principles of Eastern wisdom, with your friends, relations, or the strangers, but maintain your awareness. Don't stick to it. And if the ego uses these principles, you'll be frustrated. You will fail.
I do feel like that sometimes.
You will be frustrated and you will fail, and then you will say, oh, this is not working, but I'm making you aware. When you do it with unbiased, mind is not there, the self remains, you experience that state of the peace and the calmness. Even you shout outside, but internally you maintain that state of the peace and calmness. The witness consciousness continues. You see the clarity? I said, why should I interfere in between you? One statement. Such a simple, but very forceful. Second statement is even more forceful when I say it is the mind that is causing the problem. You both are wonderful people. The self is common point. I started with that common point. Now, because the impurities and the habit and the past impression in the mind, this mind wanted to find a solution by blaming, complaining, reaction. That will never happen. Now see, the third statement is still more powerful. So the husband told me, if I change my mind, I said, first change it, experience that, and then see what happens. I have brought their mind again into the same principle. Can the mind live in peace? You have experienced before. Can you live in peace in spite of all those blame, complaint, and reactions? And let the peace guide you. Then there will be no fight. I said, that is why you have invited me. That is why you have called me. That is why you are paying me. Did you understand that? Yes, I understand. So how to stop blame, complaint, and reaction? What is this? This is the impurity of the mind.
Yes.
Blocking the self to see the reality. How easy it is. I know it is easier said than done.
Well,
it needs a lot of practices. The mind should continue to face inside. Even if I look at you, there is an awareness, an intense awareness, it is facing to the self. So that mind does not move towards pleasure-seeking, conflict and blame and there is nothing. Even if my client says, no, I am not getting a result. Is it because of me? You have the same self. No, but normally sometimes people don't understand, they leave me, that's a part of the world. I said, okay, I'm fine with it. I'm not going to push you. I should not become emotional. The moment I become emotional, I have impurified, my mind is impure. No way. It's a very tricky profession. Tricky in the sense, sometimes you don't say. But in your landscaping business, you always try to rationalize, you try to market, you try to push, you try to force, you use the one argument, you use second argument. But those arguments belongs to the world. I will frustrate and fail myself. I don't do that. Very careful. Because the moment I start doing it, I will miss myself. Then I will have a lot of challenges in my life.
I have noticed that even though I engage in that behavior, when the conversation ends, I do not become upset like I used to.
That's good.
I can talk to her about it and I say it, but the words have no power over how I'm feeling at that moment. I can go back to what I'm doing. It was like the conversation never happened.
That's wonderful. That is really wonderful. And it means no anxiety. Mm-hmm. So simple. No anxiety, no reaction, no attachment. So normally we say, you are my friend and I'm attached to it. No, you are my good friend. That is helping me to live in dispassion. And dispassion reveals that witness consciousness. So the person may not realize that you are the best friend to them because you live into that state. But gradually, when you start working like this, they will realize, I see Claudia is not going to do any harm to me, even if she agrees with me or disagrees with me. You see that point, you have a natural trust. That's why I have people are still in contact with me. In Europe, I met them maybe 20 years ago. They still return. They say, no, we want to talk. So that gives you an understanding. Yes, why this is not? This is not because of my ego. This is because you are totally transparent inside you, not in words, inside you. Because that self is revealed as a witness consciousness. So those 20 years, I'm very ruthless to those people. Because they have invested in that relationship. I said, no, I don't agree with you. You go back, close your eyes and come back to me. Why you have a problem with your honey? And what should you do? And they come back, I have to live into that state of the peace and calmness and love, and let the peace, calmness and love reflect on my honey to see where lies the problem. Recently, this from Spain, I met her in 94, 95. So I became unconscious, I became totally habitual, I responded with the reaction. I said, change yourself. That's a simple solution. First change yourself, then see him, then make a right decision, See that how easy it is. Your dad may not agree because he's totally mesmerized and hypnotized with the medical science. Medical science is based on the sense and the mental perception. What we are talking is beyond and behind the senses and the mind.
Yeah, well, the medical science is about the senses.
About the senses and the mind, of the objective reality. How they can understand this? Until they are open, until they want to awaken their own potential. It doesn't mean that they are not intelligent. They are doing a great work. They have done a remarkable work during the last 200 years of science and technology. No, I'll pick up that right knowledge and the wrong knowledge next week. That up to what level, think of it, up to what level the knowledge of the science is right and how it becomes wrong in our daily life. And the science is so much, we are hypnotized, the mind is so much hypnotized by the science. Anxiety, find out the Google research paper and you fall back.